It's funny. It's touching. It's been just a delight.
It's very reassuring to be like, oh, other people are talking about these things and feeling these feelings that we're feeling and dealing with the same shit. And we are live. Hello, everybody. It is Palmer podcasting from Dayton, Ohio, and live on YouTube.
And this is Dave coming at you from Northfield, Minnesota, from the back porch.
Oh, man. It's so great. Strap shirt weather. I got shorts on. I was wearing the slippers today.
The slippers?
Well, that's what they call them in Hawaii. They don't call them flip-flops. They call them slippers.
Oh, sure. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, oh, yeah, look. We started so late. So, hey, we already have one viewer. Thank you to our one viewer. I think that might be Moto, our one viewer who patiently has been waiting for us to start. That's 2 weeks. So we skipped a week of recording, made up for it last week, started 45 minutes late, and then today we started an hour late. And this would be our regular thing. But we also promised too on these live nights that we're gonna get back to. We were really good about starting within like 15 minutes of 8 o'clock, and we'll get back to that. These last few weeks have been crazy, really crazy. Palmer's on the mend, and everything's going well. So, yeah.
And we missed that 1 week because of my crazy work situation. And yeah, we try to share as much as we can with you, but there's some stuff we can't. So we've been having some off-air talks before this.
I said I was going to share it. I quit my job today, though. I did do that.
You did, yes.
Yeah.
How do you feel it?
I feel empty, but in like a weird, good way. And, sometimes you just have to reset.
So I was thinking like a lighter feeling, like you're not carrying tension and stuff.
Yeah, but
empty
I feel like
interesting.
It's like all that stress has just been emptied out. Like I told Ash, because she asked me, she's like, "How do you feel?" Because I text her, "This is so awesome." So I drove back from Columbus free, right? Like I was done, had my sunroof open. That's why I'm sunburned, and I drove straight to the library. Because I got a notification that one of my reservations of audiobooks was ready for me. And I went to pick it up, and it's the Man's Pursuit of Happiness. Like
that's great.
How fucking
poetic.
Perfect. Yeah, just perfect, right? I listened to Yield on the way up to Columbus, and which was just fantastic. And so
that's evolution, baby.
Yeah,
this day for you.
Yeah, and so many things were just like really striking home. So I got in the car, and then I was like, I'm going and playing pinball. So then I drove to the barcade that's like right around the corner from the library, and got a PBR and like one PBR and like cashed in a bunch of dollars for quarters and played pinball at like 2 in the afternoon, or like it was like 4 in the afternoon. It was fantastic. Like.
Oh, that is great.
For like an hour.
Yeah, around then is when you sent that picture that I tweeted out. It'll be hashtag LWSD47 if you...
I sent that out like who's got 2 thumbs and quit their job today.
You look so happy though in that photo.
Yeah.
I was very pleased to see that.
So it's okay. It was an amicable split. It was definitely it just needed to happen. It just wasn't a good fit. And that's okay to not be a good fit somewhere. So I'm going to take some time and just to realign and figure out what I want to do and really make a good non-hasty choice. So,
well, that's great. I'm excited for you.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get the window up. How have you been? Let's talk about you.
Oh, yes. I've been pretty good, I think. Yeah, no, I have. I mean, I feel like we've recorded since I worked. Yeah, I worked like 50 hours of overtime in 12 days. that time we didn't record.
Right.
And so that sucked. I do get to, however, make up that time. So that I'm not sure when or how, but I'm gradually doing that. Like a couple hours today, I came a little early. But I do, and I think so. I said some of this off the air, but I did realize something. I've been trying to sort of figure out, make my work situation more sustainable for years, and it's really just a problem of demand. Like I'm the only person now. There's like anyway, I have a little bit of help, not enough, can't meet the demand, and I feel like we're progressively making more and more strides to getting to a better situation. But I realized in the course of that, like I was working the weekend, I'd barely seen the bride, and I was racing against this deadline and making these 3 videos. And I realized like it was like Saturday afternoon, maybe even Sunday. And I'm like at the point where I've been making them for months, but they're in the final stages and I was rushing to get them done. That's why I was working the weekend. And I was like, you know what? I stopped and just realized like, I'm actually kind of happy doing this. Like I haven't it got so bad that I put like an email responder up and everyone knew I was just not to be bothered.
Right.
Couldn't be bothered.
Right.
Because I had to get this done. And I realized without all the other stuff, I was like, all I'm doing every day, all day is making movies. I was editing, running out and filming stuff to fill holes in the edit, solving story problems. I was like, this is all right. And this is actually my job. The pace just sucks.
Right.
So I because of that sort of crazy situation, and because that is not the first time that's happened and all these other things, we're really getting to a place where I will be able to focus more on just doing that, just doing my job as opposed to these other things.
Awesome.
Most of which involves like planning the projects that are accepted and prioritized. So that's good. It's been a little traumatic at times, but it's okay. I went to an actual therapy session last Friday because one that I scheduled during when things were bad, because there was like couple days, there was one day where I was like snapping at the bride and I was like, whew, it's like, I'm just like, that's not who I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything bad. It was just like, I was just, overwhelmed. And I just realized like, I'm trying all these things, as our podcast listeners will know, who've been listening for, episode upon episode will know, like all these things that I try just to get it together and do it better, as we say in the household. But I was like, I don't have the tools to deal with some of this effectively. And this is something I haven't tried in many years that I could do to help myself, like go to therapy. I have good insurance, why not?
Right.
So I called and made an appointment, and then I went last week, and it was fine. I one time went to therapy when I was like separated and on my way to getting divorced in like 2005, I guess, probably 5. And I went to 2 sessions and I was just so angry and resentful to be there. It didn't do much for me. And then of course, now I realize, well, it didn't do much for me because I was angry and resentful to be there. I had a terrible attitude about it.
Right.
Whereas this time I went in and I wasn't even in acute distress at this point, where I just realized, like, if this works at all, it's going to be whatever it's just an opportunity for me to, I don't know, process my own stuff and have someone who's not otherwise, like the bride is, for all the sort of certain aspects of her personality we put out here, is profoundly loyal. And so if I say I have a bad day at work, she's like, I'm going to kill that person that said something mean to you.
Right.
And that's kind of part of her role and part of the way that she offers support. But like a therapist is not going to offer that. They're going to be like, well, maybe this. And I won't be like, why do you never support me? Whatever the dynamics that are involved in like different. For the record, I've never said to the bride, why haven't you supported me on something? But anyway, so I can't really say much about it because it was, in terms of like, how was it, other than it was comfortable, because it was a little bit of a getting to know you on both sides. So I'm going to do that every 2 weeks. That's hilarious. Dude therapy and then regular therapy, at least to see if it's something that's useful to me.
Well, before I left teaching, I had started to see a therapist or a counselor. It was fine. I think there might have been a little bit of resentment too, on my part. I think now I would like to go see somebody just just to learn strategies. Like I feel like I just need this like emotional realignment, just give me some coping strategies, and so I can handle change a little better, and can not let something just totally put the brakes on, like let it bother me so much that it just prevents me from doing anything, so
that seems like a great attitude to go into something like that with, because you have a specific goal. Like, I'm looking for help with this. kind of thing.
Which is like constantly like, that's my argument, right? It's like, I want this specific feedback, give me this specific thing. Like nobody does it.
Well, and I understand too that you have to find a therapist that works. That idea, I hate that idea. Of like, what am I going to try them out? But so we'll see if the one I picked
counselor
will be okay.
was like, he was notorious. I was kind of okay with, we only had like a few sessions, and then I changed jobs. My insurance changed, and I just didn't re-up. He was really. I would say something, and then he'd be like, well, one time when I was this, and it was always about what he did, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Like I'm not paying I'm not paying this much money for a father, like, like dad advice, like,
oh man.
So, I mean, he was a nice guy. I would have totally loved to go get beers with him, but like, I'm like, that would have been great. So
I went to this, I might have mentioned it on the show, I'm not sure, but one of the other times where my work situation got bad, they have all these wellness, programs, and so they had a stress coaching or something like that. You go to a stress coaching session. So I went to that, and actually that was what that person recommended, the book that I read last year, the Designing Your Life book, which I thought was useful. But she said at some point, because I don't know, I just didn't really know what to do with that meeting. And she said, for a big part of this is just like, some people don't have someplace they can go and just sort of talk about how they're feeling for an hour. And I was like, well, I kind of have a pretty standing date, and I get usually 3 to 4 hours of that with my buddy. So I'm in a good spot there.
Right.
What else can we do?
More strategies.
Yeah. She's like, here's this book.
That's my other problem with that situation. Not problem, is I'm constantly trying to outthink them. Like, I'm constantly like, well, of course I know that, and like, sometimes I do, most of the time I do, or I might have, a lot of what they say is like really logical, and I have a very logic mind already. And it's something that I've spent so much time. Ash, that's one of the reasons why I know she's just such a great partner, is like, she totally gets it. Like, she totally just lets me go in my head sometimes, because she knows I'm working something out, and like, just lets that happen. And man, do I appreciate that. Sometimes that just, it looks like I'm just in this like loop of inactivity, when really it's just all going on in my head. Right.
Yeah. So. Yeah. One thing I noticed so far was that, you're talking to a stranger and stuff, but I did say, I feel like for me, a lot of it will be saying things out loud that I might, or like, I don't know. I feel it more than anything. My suspicion from this first session is that it'll be the questions that she asks based on what I say.
Right.
That will have me think about something perhaps from a different angle that I hadn't prior.
Yes.
But I also said something, I actually forget what it was now, so that's probably not good. But I said some words out loud that I don't think I'd ever said about a certain situation that gave me insight into like, oh, I didn't realize I felt that way about it. I see you're looking at something.
Oh no, keep talking. I'm giving a thumbs up to Moto. He has a suggestion. Moto has a suggestion, so I'm giving him the thumbs up right after you're done with your story.
That was kind of it. I realized that those two things that she asked questions that caused me, that made me realize what she was hearing from what I said. And then 2, I said something in a different moment that I was like, oh, that's I didn't realize I felt that way about that. So those are ways I think it might be helpful.
No, and
plus I have some things like that I want to work on. Like I noticed that I default to a place. I default to happy. So I don't think I have like, I purposely went to a counselor, not a psychiatrist, because I don't want medication. I just don't think it's that kind of thing. One of the things, it's the feeling of overwhelmed and angry. But I also notice over the years that I default to this place of like I'm not doing enough, that I'm falling short and failing people all the time, every day, all the time. Yeah. And that's obviously not
true.
Something also that you could never not be doing in the way that I'm thinking of it. So that's one of those things where I'm like, it'd be great to sort of fix that somehow. Yeah. Because that's less circumstantial. Like some of the overwhelmed, angry, there are ways in which I've been able to help myself there, and that is very circumstantial. But that predisposition to that feeling of not doing enough for everyone or myself or everything all the time is like, that's what I have not been able to make much of a dent in. So, anyway, it sort of sounds bad.
And
but
I think if you come at it from the angle of, I need strategies for these things. I mean, you're obviously self-reflective enough that you've identified these are the things that I want to work on. And I think I've done that same thing. And I mean, Ash and I always come back to, there is nothing wrong with talking to an unbiased perspective about what's going on in your head that, I mean, you pay them, you're paying them to literally, you can just open your head up to them and they don't judge you at all. They just tell you, they give you advice, and how, and ways that you can deal with that and work through it. They help you work through it. And
yeah, I hope so.
There's nothing wrong with that,
I don't have shame around it now. Whereas in 2005, I had shame around getting divorced. I had shame around being a therapist. I had all kinds of like other stuff going on that would prevent it from being helpful. Plus, I also could tell you I didn't like that guy. Yeah, let's do that. And then I want to know what Moto said. Yeah. Actually, this is from Moto. I'll tell you what I'm drinking. Moto's gonna like this.
Oh man,
I'm drinking the Coors beer, the Banquet.
The Banquet.
For a very specific reason, because that is what Johnny Lawrence drinks exclusively in Cobra Kai, the TV series on Red, YouTube Red.
Yes! I have to watch that. I can't wait to start that. Can't wait to start it.
What about you? What are you drinking?
We only had 2 beers in the house because I forgot to get beers. I went and played pinball. So the only beer that I had is this Winter Grind Coffee Stout.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I have Cottonmouth. That's going to be awesome. And then another Death to Disco porter.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Next Long Walk beer exchange. I'm very interested in that Death to Disco.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's left hand. You should be able to get it.
That's right. I don't know why.
Yeah. Go to that giant like Walmart of
the warehouse
stores. I'm sure they have it. Yeah, I bet you it's there. Another one you need to look for is next winter is Zombie Monkey. I think that's what it's called.
I did look for that one, and I asked about that one, and they didn't have that. Right. Death to Disco. Oh yeah, we got to crack.
Yep. All right, let's crack this, Moto. On 3. 3.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
What did Moto say?
That's what he said. He's like, beers.
Just thumbs up.
He's like, beers on 3 and 3.
Yeah.
He said that like 10 minutes ago. Yeah.
I know. Well, Palmer asked me about myself. Yeah. If anybody wanted to ask me about myself, it's like, 15 minutes for the first point.
Well, I've talked about me and you've talked about you. Let's talk about our long walkers for a little bit before we start getting into other stuff, because we started, one of the reasons it took we're so late in starting tonight was we started to dive down a rabbit hole of statistics. So let's do the spiel first so that you're going to know where we're pulling all these statistics from. So if you're watching us on YouTube right now and you can hear us, make sure that you click subscribe. We're up to 48 subscribers. Once we get to 100 subscribers, that's where we get the unique URL where we could say go to YouTube/W or LWSD. Ring the bell. You'll get notified every time we go live, and you get to see the entire conversation as it's unfolding, as opposed to the trimmed down, nice and neat version you get in the podcast episodes. If you're hearing this in one of those nice and neat trimmed down podcast episodes, make sure you head over to YouTube to do all that stuff I just said. And leave us a comment or some kind of review on your platform that you're listening right now. That'd be fantastic. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a while since we had one of those, but they're absolutely so gratifying just to know how stuff is grabbing you.
You can find us on any of the major podcast platforms by searching Long Walk Short Drink. Go to audibletrial.com/LWSD for your free audiobook. You can listen to the new reading of Pet Sematary.
Is that out?
I think it is out. Read by the gentleman from Dexter, who I can't think his name right now.
I'll say it wrong. C. Michael Hall. It's not C. Michael Hall.
Michael C. Hall. No.
Michael C.
I don't know. So do all those things. So we started to talk about that stuff, and because you're going to help, you would fit into these numbers. So first off, we host all of our stuff on SoundCloud, so you can subscribe right now. If you go to lwsdpod.com, it just directs to our SoundCloud page, right?
Right now it's just like a forward.
Now that I have all this free time, I promise I'm going to get a website up for us. How about that?
When I told you I messed around with the platform, I think what you were thinking of, and it was tricky. There's a learning curve, but if anyone likes learning, it's you.
Yep. Nope. And I have time to do it, so that's gonna be great. So, we started to look at some of our statistics. So I started at SoundCloud, and I put in from December 2016 when the episode started to now, and we have through SoundCloud, through our podcast episodes, 4,245 plays. That is amazing. That's just fantastic. You know,
wow.
That's so great. Thank you so much. Something that I told Dave, I was like, for two dudes that just basically sit and whine for 3 hours, like that's amazing.
We laugh a lot too, but
we do laugh a lot, but it's a lot of whining. I mean, and I'll admit that. Moto is our top listener.
Is he really?
You're our sixth top listener. And then Krams is our third top listener. Like,
wait, what?
Yeah.
How is that possible? How he's like our friend for 20, 30 years? And does it say how many? Anyway, we'll get into this. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Krams, seriously, if you've been listening all this time, please come on the show. Come be we needed the next Cabin
Kids volume. What would that be? 4? Volume 4? Twinkie Steiner, Pumps. Yeah, he'd be volume 4.
Volume 4, yeah.
Oh, that should be Logan, though, for chapter 4.
Oh, yeah.
For his Steve song.
Yeah.
Okay, you can come on 5th, Krams.
Krams, yeah.
What are we doing here?
Top countries, almost 4,000 listens in the United States. That totally makes sense. Canada, our neighbors to the north, you're second. Thank you. And United Kingdom, thank you so much. This is awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Big shout out to San Francisco and Mountain View, California. You're our top 2 cities in all of our history. So thank you. We have almost 1,200 listens just in San Francisco, almost 400 in Mountain View, and then Dayton, my hometown, represent 193 plays after that. So fantastic.
I was just looking at the top played. And number 1 is episode 13, Cyborg. It's our most listened to episode.
That's so awesome.
Our second most listened to episode is our first one, which is actually really quite. That's a good one. That's a good one.
It is
a place to start.
It is a good place to start. And then the stand
third is the stand.
Yeah, after that. So that's awesome. That's just those would have definitely more. And I always, when I interact with somebody who says they're going to listen, I give them the 2 spiels like, oh, it's so far now, like just start where we're at. But then I always backtrack and I'm like, no, fuck that. Start from the beginning, because you're going to hear all those awesome edits that Moto and Dave put together when we were doing when we weren't using the YouTube live feed, which those all sound great too. They've really helped with the workflow and help us get help Dave get episodes out more quickly, which is awesome. And all that's fantastic. And I'm just looking forward to that next Moto edit when he's ready. It's gonna be fantastic, Moto. Fantastic. I know it's there.
Moto in the off season.
I
think he's entering his busy season. Plus, the time I spend not editing this show, I basically create other work for him to make or to help with. So yeah, keeping Moto up to his eyeballs in audio work since forever. Long walk, short drink, and myself. Is he chiming in?
So his initial chat was when we were talking about our jobs, he's like glad to hear it on both sides. Being over work humps, he's like, I have a week to go, then I should be out myself. So
that's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, you rock on yourself, sir.
Yes, we gotta then when he gets that extra time, we gotta check out all 10 episodes of Cobra Kai.
Man,
it gets so much better than those first two. Like,
really, I haven't watched any yet, so I'm so excited.
I don't want to give spoilers.
I'm so excited to get through it, and
there's a lot you could spoil.
Yeah, it just don't call it a comeback. That's awesome. That's so fantastic. That's great. He says, Broadman, our newest subscriber, also like, I'm glad you're getting in on these jokes. Awesome.
That's great.
So,
and number 4 before we move on, the number 4 episode most listened to is Twinkie's first episode, Volume 1, Cabin Kids.
Awesome.
I thought that was fun.
And that's 123 versus 125. That's almost the same. I mean, we're in the solid 100 plays for the first 20 episodes. And then
that's interesting. Yeah.
It's,
I mean, by then you're either in or you're not.
And this was something that was really interesting. Our episode 46, which at the time of this recording just came out yesterday. This is the fastest any of them. It's not the lowest played episode. It actually has more than 3 other episodes. In 24 hours, it's had 35 plays. That's awesome. So
yeah, that's
we're
cool.
so grateful for all of this, you guys. And then I decided let's hop over, and I'm a math nerd, so all of this stuff is interesting to me. We decided to hop over to YouTube and look at those. I zeroed in here. Cities, if we do the top cities here states. Let's do states. Ohio, California, Minnesota, Texas, Michigan, New York. We've had 111 views in New York.
I think our buddy
they do it by watch time.
I think he checks in now and again. He told me once.
Oh, really? Awesome.
I think it's so hilarious that my honest to goodness friends will listen to this show and then not engage me about it. Or come on. I mean, I can understand people don't want to be on a show.
All the stuff that we've asked, though. They've probably subscribed.
Yes,
they've probably left reviews or comments or any of those things, which we greatly appreciate. We understand that not everybody wants to just be out on the internet like we are willing to be. And we're really quick though when we do interact with people to be like, oh, you got to come on the show, and some people just might not be into that. So.
Yeah, that's true. I've had to learn more. I was better for a while. Now I've gotten bad again about just because someone is your friend. Well, they want to make stuff.
Yeah, because it's been so easy. I mean, just about everybody we've asked though has wanted to come on, and a lot of it we didn't even have to solicit. Like they came to us, like Twinkie and Pumps, and wanted to be on. So yeah. But YouTube, the numbers are even better, and in my opinion, yes, we put. It's been on the whole time too, because you were putting the.
Yeah, they used to just be like a graphic. Those numbers are the unboxing videos. People watch those for some reason. Like
those are super popular though, just on YouTube in general. So. That's a great niche that you got in with those, and so these factor those in as well. But
those are in the thousands. like the one in 2000s.
So
but
we're going from November 30th to May 7th. Now our number one played was, oh no, that's by watch time. Let's do views.
Oh, I have the number one played is the Nine Inch Nails Downward Spiral Broken.
Yep.
So skipping the unboxing videos, number one, Long Walk Short Drink episode. Number 13,
Cyborg again. And then
with 622 views, which is way more than the podcast version, interestingly enough.
And Ash versus Kill Bill is 198 views, which cracks me up because that is definitely not the strongest Ash episode. Like, it was just kind of
Get Out is magic.
Yeah, Get Out is so fantastic, and Kill Bill was just kind of like, yeah, they were really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we ate too much cake before we recorded.
Well, you know what YouTube is too, where like a lot of it is driven by the title and the still frame. So Cyborg, if you're into the movie Cyborg, it's like the one sheet, and you see it, and you're like, "Ooh, I wanted to hear about that fucked up movie."
Although that screen cap from episode 36, that should be drawing people in, because that screen cap is magical. That Ash's quote, like, that should be on it. You know how it says like this screen cap?
Oh, wait, I think you mean 46, right? With My Pet
46.
Monster?
Yeah, what did I say? 36. I forgot we're in the
maybe,
40s. Yeah.
or I misheard.
No, 46 with My Pet Monster.
How I pick those, back in the day, I wish I would have thought to use them on YouTube when I used to just use them for Twitter, which you can find us on Twitter at LWSD Pod.
Oh, I forgot that one. Thank you.
Certainly. So I used to do screen grabs before we did video recordings in moments that were exciting to me. And I stopped doing them once we did the video recordings because there was basically always kind of screens to be grabbed from in the edit. Though there is one iconic Long Walk Short Drink screen grab that I did grab during one of the first live video recordings. Oh, no, it wasn't. It wasn't a video recording. Or was it? It was. Excuse me. Sorry. But it's the one of you double fisting the beers and getting caught in the moment. Yeah. Because the way that the cameraman works for the switching back and forth between basically usually whoever's speaking, but I think you have to be speaking long enough before it clicks over. So that wasn't in the video. That was something that I just happened to see as I don't know, it was a weird thing that would have been lost. So sometimes I wonder, should I still be doing those? But so normally how I pick them is when I'm going through and isolating moments for the teasers at the beginning, like so that if it's a 4-hour episode, you hear us laughing about, taking them out of context, and hopefully people are like, well, I wonder how they get there. So when I go back to those, a lot of times those are involving like some sort of extreme emotion, like if we're shouting or laughing or something. So then I'll go through as I'm editing, I'll just go to those sections and see if I can't find a particularly expressive frame. And the one that I chose of you for 46 is you seeing the My Pet Monster brought out. Yeah. You just like freaked out.
Yeah. And you have a great face. Everybody's face is perfect on that. Ash was just so smitten how we were all smiling. Oh, it's fantastic. So it's no wonder that got so many views so fast, because it just was very enticing. But let's drill in some more of these numbers, and then we'll get off the analytics. We've got 42,000 watch time minutes since we started.
Oh, whoa. That is a long show.
It is a long show.
I'll take it.
But when you look at the average view duration, they're watching like less than 1% of an episode. That's not accurate math. But it's like 6 minutes is the average time that somebody will watch.
I can see that. I re-listened to the Cyborg episode when the Shout Factory came out, and we didn't start talking about Cyborg for first half of the episode. So I can imagine you click on it and you're like, well, they're not talking about Cyborg. And you click off.
And if you figure too, if the unboxing videos, which are much shorter, are our most viewed, that will also drive down that the average view duration, because those videos aren't as long compared to somebody sitting through a 4-hour long episode,
Yeah.
So we have 7,000 views though on YouTube. That's sweet. Still awesome. So fantastic stuff. I just love drilling into those numbers and am just absolutely so grateful to all of our long walkers. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. Should we talk a little bit more about a YouTube related thing in the Cobra Kai?
Oh, yes. I mean, you're going to lead this because since our last episode, for those who have not listened to 46 yet, Double D, I'm pretty sure, has probably listened 3 times already.
Patron saint.
Yeah.
Of LWSD.
So I was listening to 46 for I'm on the 7th listen. Double D.
Well, it's got to be his project too.
Yeah. But Cobra Kai came up. Moto had stumbled across Cobra Kai, and YouTube had graciously let the first 2 episodes. Anybody on YouTube could watch the first 2 episodes. And he had stumbled upon those thinking they were trailers, but he actually got the episodes. And I had recently upgraded my personal YouTube Red account to a family YouTube Red account so Ash could get it. And I added the Long Walk account. And so now Cobra Kai is being binged by Dave and Moto, and very soon to be binged by me. Where I hope that we'll devote we needed to just do a Cobra Kai episode. So let's just do.
I think probably just Karate Kid in general.
Sure. Oh no, that's great.
Because we wouldn't need to go through all the movies, but that would be fun. Because it's very much in the canon, like awesome. Like a continuation of. So it's like it's all one big story.
So should you be beefed up all the way through like Karate Kid 3, like with the drums and everything?
I don't think you need to. Well, that's 2.
Oh, that's 2. That is 2. 3's the next. What? No, 3's not.
No, 3 is the one where Daniel goes back to defend his title because the Cobra Kai is like threatening him.
Oh yeah,
Mr. Miyagi.
I remember that.
Business.
That's like that super douchebag is leading the Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And like
yes, Terry Silva.
Yeah,
Silva, and Silver, I think.
Oh, that's what it's the bad Superman one because. Like Daniel turns into.
Yes, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's great. All right, let's not get into that too much, but that is the one because now I can't wait for this episode. I love me some Karate Kid. So, I'm sorry, I was hopping in there. Were you going somewhere?
No, that's what we were talking about. That was just the setup. Like, and now we have all 3 of us now have access to Cobra Kai. So.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. By the way, and part of the reason I think I was binging it is I was just worried that it's going to get taken away.
But I don't think it is. Like all of YouTube's original content is still, all of it is still available. And how about just watching without ads? Isn't it? Oh,
that's remarkable.
Isn't it a totally different YouTube experience? Like.
Yeah, it's amazing actually. Especially when you're watching a TV show, or it feels like watching Netflix as opposed to even something like Hulu, which has ads.
Right. I cannot stress enough. Please, if you're on the fence about YouTube Red, it is totally worth $9.99 if you're just want to do a single account. But the family account is only $14.99 a month, and you can add up to 5 accounts into that. And in addition to getting access to YouTube Red, which is commercial-free, normal YouTube, and this is a total free plug. Like this is the kind of shit that if somebody represents, you could be getting paid for that. Who cares?
Yeah,
represent us.
There you go.
So, listen, I talk about analytics once. We got 7,000 views, and I'm like, you should fuck Jesus, prima donna. No, but you get all of that. Plus, you get access to Google Play Music, which is like YouTube's music streaming service, like their answer to Pandora or whatever. But there's never been an album that I've been able to type into Google Play Music that I can listen to for free through Google Play Music, and you get that,
or that you can't, right? I think maybe that came out. You can always find what you're after.
Oh yeah, yes.
I think it might have,
man, that's what I meant.
Inadvertently said. Mine are on there. Search David Ullman, Ullman.
Yeah.
Some Moto produced business. We're on there.
Yeah. You can subscribe right there from that app. So totally get YouTube Red. Totally worth it.
Yeah, and if they're gonna fund programming like this, holy cow.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I mean, a lot of their earlier programming was like documentaries and YouTube stars, basically.
Oh, sure. Oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Given them more carte blanche to make higher produced content, more closer to actual movies and stuff like that. It's still, a lot of those still have a real YouTube feel to them. Like, please don't expect like, it totally feels like YouTube. I don't want to make that kind of comparison because that's not fair to those creators. But like this Cobra Kai stuff is very promising. It's just, it's just them getting into that retro feel, but it's also really exploring properties, which is, it's great. I mean, because it just opens potential. So
yeah, and it's really well done. You were asking if you need to be current on Karate Kid to like get stuff or something to that nature. It explains everything you would need to know. There's like flashbacks and stuff like that to help you fill in. But I will say, if you're a Karate Kid uber fan like myself, it is loaded with like really specific references. Oh, it's amazing, like how deep they've gone and how much like kind of inside jokes there are if you are really familiar with all that stuff. But they also, I'm trying to give too much away. The first 2 episodes were really good. It's, you know what it is a lot like in some ways? It's a lot like The Last Jedi, where you have that incident that happens that turns Ben Kenobi into Kylo Ren, essentially, where he wakes up and he sees Luke standing over him with the lightsaber, and he thinks, his master turn on him is going to kill him. And then, anyway, so, and we see that explained by both parties of that situation in that movie, The Last Jedi. So you get Kylo Ren's perspective, and you get Luke Skywalker's perspective. And actually, with Luke Skywalker, he says it twice, right? Like he tells it one way, and then he's more honest the next time.
Yep.
And you see it a little bit differently and stuff. And that's kind of famously that's more than just the Rashomon thing of hearing the same story from different people in that instance, because you get the same perspective from one character twice. That's kind of interesting,
right?
But, the show Cobra Kai is told in a more balanced way than the Karate Kid movies were. Like those, Daniel's the protagonist, he's the hero, and everyone else, like the Cobra Kai, are the villain. Whereas in this, the first 2 episodes, one is basically from
spoilers.
Well, yes and no. One is just
okay,
because they really set it up like this to kind of give you a flavor of the show. Like one is from Daniel LaRusso's point of view, or more focused on him, and the other one is Johnny Lawrence, who is the blonde-haired bad guy in the first movie, like head Cobra Kai thug kind of guy, who he fights at the end and sweeps his leg.
Oh yeah.
So those are great. Like I was totally in. The bride watched them with me, and she was like, I don't need to watch this with you. She didn't not like it, but she wasn't, because I was like, do you want me to wait for you?
Right.
And so I really liked them. I wasn't disappointed or anything like that, but I wasn't like blown away either. I was satisfied. I was in. I was ready, excited, but as it gets into it, like it just kind of keeps getting better and better, and
awesome.
I don't know. It's like, it's funny, it's touching, it's been just a delight. So I mean, awesome. I don't want to spoil. There's so much that could be spoiled in terms of just fun stuff that happens, and things that are harken back to those older movies. I have 2 more left. I think partly why I binged it too is I thought there were fewer episodes than there were. Like I was just gonna watch it all last night.
Yeah.
I've never done anything like that.
The text you sent me, you were like, by the way, I'm obsessed with Cobra Kai. I'm actually angry I can't be watching it right now. Because
I am.
We text like in the middle of the day. Like even still, like Moto's like, he's like, so there are My Pet Monster VHS and Monster Squad Blu-rays, but no Cobra Kai Blu-ray. He wants medium.
Oh yeah, and me too, because I was so just like, oh no, I love this. What if we get discovered? What if YouTube Red doesn't like how you're using the family thing?
Oh, instance? Yeah.
It just boots us off.
Yeah.
but also just like, what if I want to watch this next year when I don't have an internet connection or something like that? So I've long been in the habit with YouTube, when I find a video I like, I go to one of those sites and rip the video and put it on a hard drive someplace.
Yeah.
So after I finish,
Google is definitely going to have a problem with the way that we're using YouTube Red.
But YouTube Red has cracked something to where not only can you not rip the episodes through those kind of websites, you do rip something, but it has a little branded thing and it says free clip courtesy. And it's not even from the beginning. It's like they've picked something so that when you try and do that, when you post which I was like, well, heads off. Well done to prevent that. But I was just like, damn it. Then
don't spoil the family thing for everyone, Dave.
No, I hope that doesn't spoil anything. I mean, that's all the more reason to like sign up, because you can't. I don't do that stuff to pirate or share. I just don't. Because YouTube is notorious for pulling stuff.
Oh, for sure. But they created that content. They paid to have that content created. I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
No, I know, but I don't know.
I mean, I totally.
I don't like the idea
that is the big rub with the internet, right? Is like, once it's on the internet, it lasts forever as long as some server is maintaining it and somebody is giving you access to that on the server. So I mean, that's the thing you got to consider. I mean, Google. I guess the takeaway, Google, if you're listening, or if I guess your algorithm is listening, the takeaway here is listen to your audience. If you're getting enough views, rub a little more money out of us by putting this out on a special edition Blu-ray set or something. People like us would charge $250 definitely for it, and we'll definitely buy it.
It's got to come with like a Karate Kid gi, or a Cobra Kai gi,
a Cobra Kai, a reversible. One side's white. If you put it in one way, it's white, and if you reverse it, I hope you're listening, Google.
Yeah. Well, Cobra Kai gis are a little bit like the strap shirt of gis because they don't have sleeves.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot all about that. Man, I got to beef back up on my Karate Kid. I swear that what really was a big man. I used to do my brother used to make fun of me for trying to do the crane kick all the time.
Well, if you watch this, I guarantee it'll make you want to go back and watch those.
Yeah, definitely.
And even if it doesn't, it'll spark your memory. Yeah, so it's like people. I don't know if like people ask me, is it good? It's like I don't know what is good, but I can tell you that I am enjoying the shit out of it.
Moto says less than $250, please. Poster included, though.
It should be like an All Valley High tournament poster, like the one hanging in the Cobra Kai dojo. There's so many opportunities.
So many opportunities, Google. So
a lot of companies they don't like, some do it, some don't. Like it took a really long time for the Stranger Things season 1 physical artifact to come out.
I literally think it just takes a certain play count. I mean, you don't see play counts on Netflix. That like they're really secretive about that kind of stuff. So, but I know there's probably somewhere that as soon as it hits over a certain play count, it's like that algorithm says, okay, now you would make money on a box set like that. Yeah, like I would not surprise me if that if it breaks down like that, and I'm sure they would consider something very similar for this. And if not, then they're missing the mark, because there's still that medium thing, like. You hear like vinyl has outsold like digital last year or year before.
Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense in terms of like selling.
Yeah, and
you get the digital and you get the thing,
and
otherwise you stream.
Books are making a huge comeback. Like bookstores and books are making a huge comeback versus like reading on a Nook or what shit. People don't read on Nooks anymore. But I mean, like, there is a market for medium, or media. So
I like that, a medium. I think there's I don't need to talk about this movie, but I brought it out because I thought we would talk about this. Is the Judgment Night? Remember we talked about just briefly what this movie is, but what it is though, and how it exists, is some kind of service, or it's almost like it was made on demand. It doesn't say that. But from looking at it, and as a guy who makes like single run versions of things, sometimes like of the stuff I made for my friends, This was like generated because I ordered it.
Right.
And it comes from Warner Brothers, and it's something called like the wb.com/Warner Archive. So it's like this was never in stores. But you can order it from Amazon. So I hope that at some point in time we get to that place. Like there's even a disclaimer, like it might not play on all things, but
right.
And what's extra fun for me too is that it's like it has what a true video release would not have, which is the actual like movie poster.
That's awesome.
It doesn't have like shitty,
right,
video airbrushed box art.
And
so I hope that happens
reviews on blurbed all over it. Does it have that on there?
Actually, no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah, like,
I mean, in some ways, it's kind of
like
lo-fi, but
movie poster. That's awesome.
Yeah, on the front. Yeah. Anyway, so I can't speak highly enough of Cobra Kai if you think you might be interested, but also too, like if you like those first 2 episodes at all, oh man, that it just keeps getting better and better. I can't believe how invested I am in this.
So we have to get Cram's episode. We talked about a Logan episode.
Which that'll be a sort of a different situation, right? Where you're the person.
Yep. That's what we're shooting for. And then
Kid Adventure Volume 2.
Yep, Kid Adventure.
I was thinking about different names for that too, because what was Double D's? It was something about Remembers, Long Walk, Short Drink, Remembers.
Long Walk, Short Drink, Remembers, yeah.
I was tossing around stuff like, because we have Cabin Kids Volume 1.
Right.
Like if we got into a thing where these are not great, but it's like Kid Adventure Hour, Kid Adventure Movies Volume 1, Kid Adventure Flicks Volume 1, or Kid Adventure Movie Memories, Retro Spectacular. I don't know. I was just trying to find a...
Well, I think the Remembers thing was because he made a good point that it might not always be... We might do movie-centric episodes that aren't necessarily kid adventure movies, but we really related... Like, Cyborg might be considered in that, or...
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, because they're not current, right?
Right.
Right. That's so often our thing.
We're looking back at a movie that had a huge impact on us at some point, or that we are literally remembering it for this episode, like what it meant to us. You know what I mean?
That's great. Yes.
So,
yeah, I think that's great too, because we don't. A lot of times, what I will do, and I'll probably still do that for those movie-centric episodes, is I will try to put a title like that in our title. Like I was going to call 46 just Monster Mash because I thought that was clever.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
But then I realized it's like, well, some people might stumble across this episode in a Google search or YouTube search if they're looking for Monster Squad or My Pet Monster.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, I should put that in the title. But I like it.
I think
that's
like LWSD Remembers, and then you would put My Pet Monster and Monster Squad,
Yeah. And we could have that almost like a segment too, because obviously we're going to talk about other things.
And that was the next thing he said is like you could record like something similar, like not similar to that style, but the idea of the like learning from the internet or any of our intros. We would record our own.
Dave's Digs. Yeah, has all those movie clips.
Yeah, we record our own intro for those things.
Yeah, and we could do it starting with the one stuff from the movies we've already covered.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah. Always never question Double D is what I'm learning. That's great. I love it.
And then we got to do the Karate Kid Cobra Kai episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to put Karate Kai. That's the Karate Kai.
Oh, perfect.
The Karate Kai episode.
That's great. That's such a great show.
This is 47. Long Walk, Short Drink cast members. Long Walk, Short Drink cast members. This is episode 47. We're just letting you know your presence will be required for episode 50. So we should probably start on the text thread.
Scheduling
that, getting that lined up because we're pretty close to it. So I'd love to have a full cast for we talked about every 10 episodes, making that like a standing. Let's try to get a full cast on.
Especially for big round number like that.
Exactly. Oh well, yeah, especially for that one. And to catch up, we haven't heard from Twinkie in a while. We haven't heard from Double D in a while.
No, not since Disney.
It was so great having Moto on last episode. That was so much fun and just like so. It was I'm so glad we decided to do that because all of us really, really enjoyed it. You could just tell it was awesome. So
yeah, that was wonderful. As awesome. It really always seems to be with those cast members, and especially surrounding these kind of shared passion movies. Oh man.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely Karate Kai. That'd be nice to have be sort of because it is a little bit current with the which we rarely are.
We could definitely fit that in. I mean, like we could do 49. We just Moto would have to be on 2 back-to-back episodes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and I don't know if any of the other guys. I don't know. I didn't know you were a Karate Kid guy.
Only because HBO every summer played Karate Kid 2 and Karate Kid 3 religiously.
Oh, and then, so it was like the one in Okinawa and then the one with
you never got the original
Mike Barnes.
Yeah.
What a bummer.
But I love the second. I love the one in Okinawa. I love how everything centers around the trees and the bonsai trees and it keeps coming back to that and yeah. Love that second one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I do too. I love all. And then, I can't wait to talk about it.
And then once the next Karate Kid came out, that's all HBO would play. The
one with Hilary Swank.
Yeah. You never saw any of the other ones. It was just that one. So
yeah, I saw that, but I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I only remember it because once it came out, that's all HBO. Like the Karate Kid, the only Karate Kid HBO would play. So I remember her jumping on the hood of the car, and that's where Mr. Miyagi.
Oh. I remember that from the preview.
Yeah. And he is freaked out because she knows that jump, and he asks her how she knows it, and then that's how he decides to train her. So,
I'm so excited to get into this. There's, I'll mention it, but because you might end up just stumble across it on YouTube. He's since passed away. John Avildsen, who directed Karate Kid, he also directed Rocky. Not for nothing.
Oh, jeez.
And a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, he kind of tried to take his name off of called Desert Heat, which is actually kind of good. But he put a bunch of the not audition tapes. Basically, he sort of filmed the movie on VHS first before they went into production. And so he posted those years ago on his personal account, and that's something that I think even YouTube might not pull down because it's not something that it's like. Well, anyway, I shouldn't have said that out loud. I'm gonna cut that out even. But yeah, so if you go on to onto YouTube, you can find these videotapes that have the scenes that from the movie, but and with the cast, just they're kind of rehearsals, but a one step further to where he was kind of blocking the movie, and
that's
I see
awesome.
A lot of them in this documentary called The Real Mr. Miyagi, which is about the guy who doubled Miyagi in the movie and on which certain things are just characteristics kind of based. But anyway,
Moto says he would totally dig that coming on 2 episodes in a row, but it's too much Moto. And I said there's never too much Moto.
That's right. Yeah. Too much Moto, never too much Karate Kid.
But he said he is looking forward to episode 50. So bring it on. Long Walk Short Drink Cast.
Yes.
So we're all going to get together. That's going to be a great episode. Can't wait.
First time since, actually, I said, but it's the first time since Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah. He said, he's like a name so nice. You say it twice. Yeah. Moto. Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah.
I wanted to tag up quick on something from the Monster Mash episode. Because I was looking to try to tag somebody on Twitter about this.
Yeah.
Someone involved in Monster Squad or something. And I found that Sean from Monster Squad and Rudy from Monster Squad are buddies. They're both on Twitter. Certainly Sean is. I'm so sorry. Andre something. Fuck. But he's on there. They have a podcast called Squadcast.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I had no idea.
I am totally in. So I'm in the goddamn club, aren't I? God, I love that fucking line. That's right up there with oh shit. What like?
Oh yeah, that's the director's favorite line. That is a great line.
Yeah.
But yeah, they so I actually just started listening today. Their first they haven't published anything in 2018. Probably because Sean, whose name I must look up, so it's he's coming out with, it's in the festival circuit, a documentary called Squad Doc.
Awesome.
And that's very current. So maybe that's why they haven't been making the podcast this year. But so I listened to the first podcast, and I'm only, I don't know, 25 minutes in, and then we're starting this. But they started recording right around the same time as we did. And in a lot of ways, it's very much like our show.
That is fantastic.
In the first 20 minutes, they talk about Star Wars, Suicide Squad, Batman vs. Superman. And then right before I stopped listening, and then this kind of thing about nostalgia where they're going to get into Stranger Things and a lot of stuff we talked about in our early episodes and still talk about. And then Rudy goes, Stephen King got me into reading. And that's when I had to pause.
It just shows that, I mean, I have always said, if you have an idea, there's at least 1,000 other people who have come up with that idea. So you better run with it, right? You're racing those people if you want to be original. So just assume that. Because it's all about who's first. Unfortunately, that sounds shitty. And that totally does not sound like Palmer, but it's like, that's your motivation. Like, if you come up with an idea, there's 7 billion people on this planet. Statistically, 1,000 of them came up with that idea also. So you got to beat them to it. And
or you somehow have something that's so intrinsically your own that they can't. But that's what they're really.
That's what
doing
I'm trying
here,
to argue, though, is that doesn't. When you get to 7 billion, I mean, the number 7 billion people, it just like,
it's staggering.
It's staggering statistically. I mean, you're really, so just run with your idea and make it happen. And
take your passion.
Yeah.
But part of why it's like our show too is they literally say at the beginning, they're like, we're not sure what we're doing here. We really just want to have it.
But it just shows that like we're part of that. It's like a zeitgeist. That's almost like the definition of zeitgeist, right? Isn't that where it's just like this cognitive, everybody's kind of it wasn't planned, but everybody, there's just this like pulse that happens, and 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 it just shows that it's another way to feel like we don't feel that we're alone, that it's very reassuring to be like, oh, other people are talking about these things and feeling these feelings that we're feeling and dealing with the same shit that here's 2 people that we have, that were a piece of our childhood, so much so that we devoted a 4-hour conversation to it, right? And these 2 people are having conversations that we're fucking having. Like, that's, I mean, it's very reassuring. I know some people look at it and they're just like, ugh, they stole our idea. I know a lot of the times, like so I'm notorious we have a text thread for the Long Short Drink cast. And I'm notorious for when I run across things on the internet that are new, but we've talked about them on prior episodes, I'll send links and be like, those motherfuckers totally ripped off our idea, right?
It is interesting though, like how much stuff that we're into and talking about that's old is getting kind of new life. Like
we do a
King Corner maybe later,
because like the DC universe thing, like that's kind of happening now. Like they're, and because
are they're taking your idea? With the Joker movie though.
Yeah, they're making a Joker movie, and they're and if that really, they'll do another villain if Joker works.
That's right.
Like they'll do another villain, and if those 2 villains work, and maybe they do build up to Suicide Squad. Then at that point,
that's right. So there has not been a villain-based comic book movie, has there?
Venom is with Tom Hardy is the first one that's coming out, and that's coming out this year, I think. But I mean, again, that like we talked about that on like
3, I think episode 3.
Like seriously, because I was in Cleveland, like visiting my dad, and we talked about that. So it always I'm always like the conspiracy theorist guy. So I'm like, oh, they're fucking listening to us. Like somebody out there in Hollywood is listening to us, and they're like just like tapping us for ideas.
Mountain View, California.
Right? And but no, that's not. I mean, of course, I don't feel that way. Legitimately, I think it's awesome. It just shows that we're like, it reassures me, like, okay, we're kind of hip. We're, for lack of a better word, I guess. Like,
that's a great idea you had about the
we have
the villains out.
We have a finger on something. You know what I mean? Like it does make us relevant. It reassures me into us being relevant. That's why we have the numbers that we have. To me, like I would have never guessed I would have brought up YouTube views and it would have been in the 7,000s. Like that, I would have never thought it would have been that high, you know, for the bit of content that we have on there. So I don't know. It's nice. I like it.
It is. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So
what was that? Just I'm gonna give a little last plug then to the Squad Doc. So I found the name. So it's Andre Gower and Ryan Lambert. That's Sean and Rudy. So
we should totally like, let's do a quad pod and let's get them on our pod and let's pod together.
There we go. Yeah, they're I hope they get back to their podcast. I mean, I'm literally just like we were talking about our first.
We promise we won't call you Sean and Rudy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I will make you no, I won't make you say, but I'm in the goddamn club, aren't I?
Oh, yeah.
I'll just be saying it in my head on a loop. God, that is
I know. That is one of the great readings of a line. It's a great line, but like the way he says it is so great.
Just the no shit way. Like in it, like it is such a well-defined character because he's just as lonely as the rest of them. Like he's just as much of an outcast. And so
he's hanging out with 10-year-olds.
He wants to be in that club. Oh, I love it. So
yeah, it's great too because you can tell he's scared when he's walking forward, but he's got the cigarette in his mouth, and then he ultimately like takes out those vampire ladies.
Yep. Oh,
so Squad Doc, the Squad Doc at the Squad Doc is the Twitter page for a documentary covering Monster Squad's 30-year impact from script to cult classic, playing at the Overlook Festival in April, produced directed by Andre Gower in Pilgrim Studios. So it's not really available. I don't even think there's a trailer you can see, but it's cool to know that it's happening. And it's cool that these guys are just friends. They just, they're like you and me when at a certain point where they're like, well, let's make a podcast.
I like to think too that it's like this is intentional for us. Like it's intentional in time for us to hang out. And if something comes from it, then it does, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that has been the greatest thing about this podcast. It's just the hanging out. I mean, it's great. You know how I love to make shows out of things, but obviously
and document
it
things.
Comes down.
Yeah.
And document things. Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it's
Sean is Andre Gower is the Dave of their group.
Yeah.
He's making the documentary.
Yeah. And he probably like called Rudy. He's just like, okay, so we got to start a podcast. And he's just like, dude, let it go. Like, let it go. Like,
what's funny though is actually the podcast so far, it's Rudy sort of hosts a little bit.
That's great.
I start top.
Like I know I'm giving it shit and I haven't even listened to it, and that's totally not fair. So I'm really just poking fun. Sorry. I can't wait. I can't wait to listen to it. It's going to be awesome. So
I love that's one of my favorite. I don't want to burn the bridge on
your podcast. So
yeah. That's one of my favorite insights, though, that you brought about the Monster Squad was that idea that Patrick wasn't really into monsters. I think that's brilliant.
He like, wasn't. Right. I guarantee you he was not. I mean, he wasn't wearing a Stephen King rules shirt.
No.
He was dressed like every kid wanted to dress in the 80s with the neon Hawaiian shirt and the like jam shorts and like
jam
and that like
I literally haven't thought or heard that term
and like
since that time.
Kids, boy kids,
boy kids.
You know, like He had that hair. Yeah, he was not. It was just they were always friends. You know, that's
Sean's in Monsters now.
Yep. You know, like, oh man,
that's awesome.
So
that was stuff I wanted to make sure to touch on. I'm in therapy. I'm on jury duty this week, but I haven't had to go.
Yeah, I had jury duty. I had jury duty last year, and I called in. I only had to call in the first 2 days, and on the second day, they were like, "Everyone in this group is excused." So I was like, "All right, sweet, I'm done with jury duty."
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it like a call-in line?
Yeah, you called in you could call in as early as 9 p.m. the night before. So you called in right before you went to bed, and you knew if you had to go report the next morning. And so you could still call, of course, the next morning. But like the way my work handled it was just like, if you don't have to report, come in. But if you have to report, then report, you know? So, but yeah, I only called in twice. I was supposed to call in for the whole 5-day week. That was my official jury duty. Mm-hmm. Monday I called in, Tuesday I called in, Wednesday I called in. They said my batch number was excused for the rest of the week. Like they were done.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it did not affect me at all. And I'm sure you'll go through, you hear some people that just like, they like they get all pissed about it. Like, oh, I got jury duty. I don't know. It's kind of cool. And you're doing your civic duty. So what the fuck?
Yeah, I got called one other time, and it was in Ohio, and I don't remember much about the specifics other than I definitely went in on the first day. There was no call-in situation. Like I went there, and I was in a courtroom. I don't remember much of anything because it was pretty uneventful. But so I expected that would be the case here, and I was in the midst of that crazy work situation, so I had to fill out a form online to make sure that I was eligible or something.
Yeah.
That's probably not the right word, but so I did that, and then I printed out kind of a PDF of that form. But I realized as the date was approaching, which would have been a couple days ago now, like that I didn't know what time I should be there. I was finding like, oh, here's where I go, but I didn't know what time I should show up. And then I'm doing some searching, and then it's like, oh, you called this hotline, 24 hours a day hotline. And I couldn't seem to, there was no number. It's published on the packet that we send you with, but I was like, wait a second. I got one sheet of paper that led me to an online form.
Right.
At which, so I'm like, shit, I threw away the paper that has the,
shit.
So eventually I got up in the morning and stuff and called and left, and then I got the hotline. And so far I haven't had to report in at all, but it's like a 2-week period, which I thought
weird.
Was kind of interesting. Yeah. So. But I mean, I've just gone.
Maybe that's Minnesota thing.
I guess, yeah. But I don't know. That's that's. I've been going through a lot of the stuff for this like big digital box set of my first album, and I'm actually now evaluating like for this one live situation. Like, here's the takes of the songs that I marked as worth like. This is probably good. I did like maybe and like these are good. So I'm listening to the good ones now and trying to pick out. So it feels good to be like, oh, because I've been doing this for a while now to be like, oh, this is the one. So that's kind of nice.
Awesome. Good deal.
I don't know.
I've been doing nothing. I've been doing nothing but like trying to, so here's something. So, we recorded back to back. So at the time of this recording, a week ago was when Moto and Dave and I recorded the Monster Mash or Monster Squad My Pet Monster episode. And so that night I had an interview, or that day I had an interview at another organization. And so a week prior to that, I had weighed myself and I was a lot. And then in dealing with all of this life change stuff, I weighed myself this week yesterday. In about a week and a half, I had lost over 20 pounds. Like just,
oh my God.
Just like stressed off that much weight. Like,
Did you feel like behavior was different? Because sometimes stress causes you to put on weight.
Oh yeah, no.
Chemically.
Oh yeah, I didn't eat. I basically. I'm trying intermittent fasting and not eating and trying to only eat one meal and letting my body tell me when I'm hungry instead of just sitting around and waiting for the next time to eat, and trying to just be active more. And all of that and a lot of that though has the stress like causes a lot of that activity, a lot of that behavior. So yeah, but like in that short amount of time, I just dropped that much. It was crazy. So
yeah, that is something. I mean, not the way you want to do it, of course, but
no. But that's like why I really am not bringing a ton to the table, just because in the last week I've really been dealing with trying to make these choices and then trying to square up all of that, how things are going to happen. So.
Yeah, I mean that's huge and all consuming.
Yeah, like in trying to make sure you're just making the right choices. I'm just really trying not to jump from the frying pan to the fire again. So, as in the end, that's what it felt like I had done, and all that causes regret, and regret is not productive. So, just trying to make smart choices. Yeah. So
it sounds like you're in I mean, you're in a very different place than you were 1 week ago.
Oh yeah, man.
Both like, emotionally and now circumstantially.
It's like we've been going live, I think, for about an hour and a half. You want to take a little bit of a break and then come back, or
I'm also I mean, I can always talk, but I don't have a lot of stuff like, I want to make sure to hit this.
Well, I mean, this could be a nice little short episode, especially when we know we have stuff. Let's make some decisions and then we'll figure out where we're at on these this slate of episodes. So
yeah, maybe the order of things to try.
Yeah. So you want to try to get another like long walk short drink remembers in between now and 50?
So we basically have 2 episodes and then 50.
Yeah.
So the remember,
or do you want to try to get Karate Kai in before 50?
I mean, I'll be ready. I'm going to finish that tonight. So that would be, and I think Moto, it sounds like, has gotten pretty far along. If not
I think he's getting ready to like binge through the rest, and then I could get through. I mean, I could definitely get through this before we would record 50. So if we wanted to do Karate Kai before 50, I say we should do one or the other before we do episode 50.
I would say like maybe we leave it like A or B based on how. So like I'm gonna finish the Karate Kai, like I'll finish that show, so I'll be set for talking about it with no problem. Like it'll be nothing I have to do. Whereas you would have to watch a bunch of stuff. So I would say like if you find yourself watching one of those soon and you're like, oh, I can't wait to finish this, then we should fast track it. But if let's just fast track.
Let's just fast track.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just make that happen, because we just did Long Walk Short Drink remembers technically.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's just.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for that. I'm all about this show right now.
I'm gonna binge it.
I had no intention of binge. I've literally never actually binged something before, but I was just so in that I was like, I'm not going to go do my project tonight. Like I'm going to just start watching Cobra Kai. And I watched it till like 1:30 in the morning last night. I think I watched 5, they're half-hour episodes, and I think I watched 5 back to back. And I was just so, I did not behave well. Like I was so happy. I kept drinking beers and a little bit of whiskey. At some point I got into the pretzels and the pretzel rods, dipping them into peanut butter. It was like peanut butter all down my front.
That's so awesome.
I was exhausted all day.
Oh, yes.
But I was just loving it. So yeah, I mean, I would say don't. I just binged it because I was so into it. But I don't think you guys need to do that. There's 10 of them, half-hour episodes.
And Moto, like just to give you a timeline, we would need to have it finished. If we're going to do that for episode 49, that would be by June the 6th. So you have almost a month to get through those episodes. That's not really binging. So if you did,
just watch one.
Like 2 to 3 episodes a week, you'll get through.
I think if he liked the first 2 as much as we talked about, I think it's going to be into it. Like it gets even better and better.
And then we'll do the other cabbing. Why don't we do this? Why don't we shoot for cream? I think it's going to be easier given the amount of time, the turnaround until the 23rd. Let's try to get crams in for the 23rd. if he's willing.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
able.
I could.
And then
I
we'll
could
shoot.
text him.
That'll give us like a month to try to line up something for that week of the 6th. No. It would be after that.
Oh, for 50, you mean?
So here's the 23rd is going to be episode 47, then 48, 49, 50. That's into July. Jeez. And then 51. Yeah, 52 would put it all the way until August 1st. Plenty of time to set something up that week with Logan and Pumps to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So let's do that. I like that order. I'll send you that. Thanks, Long Walkers, for listening to us plan all those future episodes. Jeez. Usually we are really good about doing that stuff off the air before we go live. And we burned all that time doing dude therapy off the air. So you got to hear that a little bit.
There you go.
But listen to all those awesome episodes though that are coming down the pipeline. So just to recap, we're gonna give 2 Cabin Kid episodes if all of this goes well. We'll have 2 Cabin Kid episodes. We'll have episode 50. We're gonna have our next Long Walk Short Drink Remembers episode. Remembers the Explorers, which is one of my staple go-to kid adventure movies. We're going to have the Karate Kai episode where we talk about all things Karate Kid with Moto. And then episode 50, which we're shooting for a full cast. I mean, if you're a long walker and you've been with us from the beginning, like that just sounds awesome. Just episodes of awesome, you know,
something to live for.
Yeah. So definitely, I mean, I'm totally okay with this being a nice and neat short catch-up episode. So,
oh yeah, I got Cobra Kai to watch, man.
Oh man, let's get some Cobra Kai in, right? So, let's just recap. Thank you so much. We are so grateful for all of our listeners. That's really been the big bromance this episode.
Yeah,
just looking at the
theme playing for our listeners.
Yeah, just looking at all those analytics, it is awesome to know. I mean, Dave and I would have these conversations anyways. It's just nice to know that other people are enjoying them as well.
Absolutely.
So to boost that up, to make it easier for other people to become long walkers, make sure you're telling your friends. Make sure you're subscribing on YouTube. Search Long Walk Short Drink. Subscribe to our channel. We are almost halfway there to hitting our 100 subscribers so that we get our unique URL. Click the bell so you get notified every time we record these live sessions of our podcast episodes. You can search on any of your favorite podcasting platforms, Long Walk Short Drink, to subscribe on those, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, what have you. Make sure that you are going to audibletrial.com/LWSD for your free audiobook and audio subscription. Search Long Walk Short Drink on Twitter at LWSD Pod. You can shout out us to Twitter. Make sure you're following us there. I'm a little drunk and ate some cake.
That's a tour de force. It's perfect.
Yeah, I'm like, is that everything? I think that's everything. You can email us at LWSDpod@gmail.com as well. If you got an idea you want us to talk about, or you want to come on the show. Be careful about emailing us. We'll ask you to be on the show.
Yeah. And also, an email does not guarantee a show spot.
No, that's true too. Thank you for following. Yes, please. Emails do not guarantee show spots. You got that right. All right. That's all I got, man. I got a lot going on.
Yeah, you do.
And I got to go make Long Walk Short Drink website. I got nothing else to do. So
I recommend Cobra Kai first.
Oh, that's going to happen. Don't worry. Maybe with the Big Ten. I don't know. We got to gain those 20 pounds back.
It's so hard because I'm not going to be like, dude, you shouldn't do that.
No.
I'm not the person for that.
No, I probably won't do it. And I won't tell you if I do. So
it's okay either way. But yeah, but
I quit my fucking job today. I think
that's true.
I think I can eat in the Big Ten. So
I think that's okay. Big Ten and Cobra Kai, please.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything better.
Yeah. Well, add some cake to it, and then it's great, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I guess it'd be better if it were Marie's. That's the one thing we haven't mentioned in a while.
Oh, my fucking God. Why do you got to do that to me? I can't imagine
It's just that I've been listening to the WPLMRs. I've been reposting those on the off weeks of Long Walk Short Drink, and yeah, there's a lot of talk of Marie's, and they're very fun. Like I'm so I don't think I appreciated enough the music at the time.
Are you enjoying like the music?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's a great like selection of stuff and some surprisingly like good songs and just I don't know. Yeah, I've just been really enjoying it.
I should go through those because like I said, after I never really listened to them as episodes. You know what I mean? Like I only listened to
so long
as I was going through the timeline editing, right? Like so I never got to like listen to them from point A to point B. So
it might be fun, yeah, if you get the time to revisit some of those.
Especially with all that music.
BV's episode.
Oh, BV, yeah.
And that was great. And next is our old friend Star, which is posted, but I haven't listened to it yet. Because a lot of times what I'll do in prepping them is just go through all your great show notes and like time stamp this thing so that it's great. Like I got this new car that hooks my iPhone and like comes up on the screen. And so if I'm listening on the Mixcloud app, it actually comes up like on the display of my car. And because I put in the information, it says like what track, what artist, all of that.
Oh, anyway, nice.
It's been fun. I've enjoyed listening to those since there's 8, right? I think there's 8 in the initial run. So there's a couple more yet to be posted, but there's 6 of them up now over at mixcloud.com/DOL records. Yeah, go check those out. There's great mixtapes from Palmer with like comedy sketches and kind of long walk, short drink flavored type stuff in there as well.
And I try to have different co-hosts and and it's a lot of just me. But
it's fun. Yeah,
I love the music.
Well, and your chat stuff is just like your half of these conversations. There's a lot of like crazy news and I don't know. It's really fun.
Yeah. Check them out. But all right, man. Well, I'm gonna go eat some cake and watch some Cobra Kai, I think.
Fucking A.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you go watch some Cobra Kai too. Moto, thank you so much for joining us this whole time. We really appreciate it. He said he's gonna have he says it's been a perfect night. He's gonna go have his pizza and binge watch eventually Cobra Kai 2 at some point.
That's great. Yeah.
Have a good one, buddy.
Take it as you can get it. So glad you're out there.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know you're out there, but it's so nice to know that you're sort of on here with us.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, it's been absolute real. This has been a great conversation. I'm really looking forward to this whole slate. This makes me excited to listen to Long Walk Short Drink, you know, not just to have these conversations, but to listen to them. So I don't want to lose those. That's a great lineup of stuff. So
yeah, a lot to look forward to.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, Long Walkers, thank you so much for joining us. Sorry, this is not sorry. This is just a shorter episode than you're probably used to. So don't be alarmed. I hope you weren't alarmed when you saw the minute count. Like, oh my god,
it's the. I'll just put it in the title, the last episode. See how the views are.
No, but everybody would unsubscribe at that minute. Oh, jeez, no,
I won't do that.
But yeah, thank you, Long Walkers. Thank you, San Francisco. Thank you, Mountain View. Thank you, Dayton. Right. Ashburn, Virginia, you're next.
Whoa.
Panorama City, California. Another California. Like, we're huge in California, man. No wonder they're stealing our fucking ideas. Like, oh, man. Oh, here we go. Number 7, 119 views.
How is that? Oh,
you have to beep that. You have to beep that town out. You have to beep the town out. But you know who lives there.
You know who lives there.
119, number 7 in the top 10. Chicago is next. Denver.
Wow.
You know who that is?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Columbus is number 10. We know who that is.
Sweet.
And then San Jose, California again. And then number 14. Tokyo, Japan.
Whoa. I've always wanted to be big in Japan. That's the cliche, right?
Oh, Lost in Translation could happen to us. Like, we could like get over there and become a huge pop sensation that nobody else, like the rest of the world, has no idea about. But like we fit some niche culture in Japan, and they ask us over there, and we're like celebrities. That would be amazing.
Okinawa.
We have to make that a movie. Like that's a movie right there. London's number 20, Vancouver's 37. Man, long walkers all over the globe. Like, I love it.
Me too.
Start a revolution, baby.
That's revolution, baby.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, buddy. Well, have a good night. I love you, and we'll talk to you soon.
You also.
Yep.
All right. Be well, my friend.
You too.
Cheers, long walkers.
Adios, long walkers.